Stories, we've got stories. They're a little bit of funny and a little bit of dissenter. You wanna hear them? It's got humans. They're sitting in a box and talking bold at Varta Lab.
What is the point of this podcast? I would like to know first.
It's called
I
Varta
just
Lab.
want to
If
know.
you're joining us as a listener as well, hey, welcome. It's Varta Lab with myself.
Is there a point to this?
Yeah, is there a point to this? I don't think so, but it's a podcast where we share stories. Today, to share stories, we have Sejal Bhat, who...
Hello.
Yeah, as we've seen, she's a stickler for traditional ways of doing things. You know,
Yeah.
Our hybrid way
Yeah,
of...
I would like for there to be a start point and a stop point so that somebody say action at some point.
It's life, Sejal. There's no start and end to life. Actually, there is.
So these cameras have been working this whole time.
No,
Not the whole time, but long enough.
Nobody will say action, they'll say
This
reaction.
is the smoothest I've been tricked into a conversation. I can't.
It's beautiful, isn't it? You got a new tattoo. What? I've not seen that tattoo before.
No, it's quite old. It's,
Oh, wow.
it's a few years old.
That's nice.
It's
It's a dinosaur.
It's a Lego dino.
That's
yes.
nice.
It's a podcast where we talk to you and we pour water also for you.
Yeah.
It's like
Hey,
kind of...
that's
And
nice of
it's
you.
so nice that this podcast has 2 glasses of water for y'all, and mine is like out of fucking frame.
It's like haath phaila laude.
De mere paas hai ye.
You can cuss also on us. So it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Sparsh is not in the room. Our producer, he will definitely. What's the
I
word
like
for
how
it?
you're just telling me the rules of the podcast during the podcast.
Yeah.
Just in case you want to say fuck you guys.
Because it's like
It's acceptable.
I feel like whenever I listen to all the episodes as they come out,
Yeah.
right? And for me, and I often have somebody around me also listening in, and it's always like the number one thing I've gotten for the podcast is like, oh, it's like I'm part of, like, it's like somebody's just sitting in the room while we're talking. You know, and it sounds like, अरे ये तो हर podcast होना चाहिए, but हर podcast ऐसा नहीं होता है.
You are the perfect friend for the lonely person in the room podcast.
But but that's the thing. I have been the lonely person listening to podcasts all my life, right? Like, and
so
radio.
you're
and
just
all.
recreating your brain.
Yeah, in
this
fact, I listen to
podcast.
it like my most common thing that I do when I'm listening to my own podcast is cleaning cat shit. You know, now I have
Yeah.
4 of them, so I'm like, when I'm cleaning shit, I'm like, this kind of seems appropriate.
Yeah.
You know, it's all built up to this point in my life.
And now for some water drinking ASMR.
It's all doing water at the same time. Nice.
There's a problem I have, Navin. You should help me with this.
Okay.
There are some children in my building who feed cats. I don't mind feeding cats. You know me. I've had cats. I like to consider myself the Sanjay Gandhi of cats.
As in you want only one of them to be born.
No, every year I raise money to neuter them. So I'm very fond.
Is
but-
that what Sanjay Gandhi is known for?
Yeah.
Yeah, trying to neuter everybody,
Trying to
yeah.
neuter a lot of
okay.
people. That's what he did.
Okay.
Amongst the many other bad things he must have done as well.
And for the national park also is now.
Yeah. So these kids, they give the food to the cats every night, which is something that you also do in your building. I'm
Yeah,
sure you do
yeah.
that. I'm sure what you don't do though is put so much food that even 35 cats couldn't finish that fucking
That's
shit.
a lot of cats.
Right? There's 5 cats.
Okay.
And they put aisa thali bhar ke. How you live when you're
They mane, you're talking about your neighbors.
these kids in the
Children,
building.
yeah.
Okay.
Thoughtful
And-
But
ones.
cat food only, not
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
some
cat food, wet
human
and
food.
dry.
Micro
Okay?
Minka
Mixed
Gandhis
karke.
everywhere.
And they keep so much of it that the cats can't finish it every night. There's like just this one area which has become littered with cat food. Rats are attracted to the leftover cat food.
Yeah.
Oh, they like cat food.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
like the
rats
food of their
will eat
rats will eat
predators.
anything, dude.
Anything really. Cat food can be consumed by the entire food chain essentially.
Yeah.
Because just
Oh,
like
yeah.
it's-
fair.
Did you ever have that story growing up of the cousin who had food under their fingernails and then the rat came at night and ate the fingernails? Because
Bro, I had
there
an
was-
even scarier story told by my
What?
sister.
Yeah.
It's a real story.
Last
wow.
night, one rat on Carter Road ate my leftover momos, which I was going to eat, but then I saw the rat like nyum nyum nyum. So I was like, okay, आपने
Where
झूठा
were you
कर
eating
लिया
these
अब
momos, dude?
अभी
Yeah.
झूठा नहीं खा सकती मैं.
Did you go to like literal Wuhan to eat the momos?
No, I was having momos on Carter Road.
Wow,
Huh?
momos.
So like on
No,
the
not wow.
promenade, मतलब ऐसे बैठ के ऐसा.
Yeah, that lane which has a lot of
ये
food.
ये
places.
बाहर से लोग जो आते हैं ना मुंबई, ये लोग ये सब करते हैं.
Firstly, मेरे को मुंबई कार्स लेके गया वहां पर, ठीक है ना? मुझे पता भी नहीं था वहां पे है कुछ करने को. I thought it's just to roam
Earlier it
around
was
for
the
lovers.
BMC people for your mask. Now the rats are coming. Pretty much the same equation.
The rat was so eager, dude. It was
Yeah.
it really. He just
And
went
it's-
at my food.
It is so bad, no, taking food away from them because they're really loving it. Like whatever
It's
they're
not
eating.
about feeling bad. Can you really eat like अगर उसमें छोटा सा एक mouth bite है of a rat, will you really take
Was
that
it only
momo and
one
just put it-
momo?
It was one momo and one rat, and it just
Oh,
he
then,
demolished
yeah.
it.
He
I love watching rats when they carry food. Like, for example, if you're just nibbling on it because you're like a docile person, like, I won't attack you. But in case they're like, oh, this person is too aggro, they'll take the entire thing and run. उससे नहीं हो रहा, मोमो इतना बड़ा है, उसका body तो छोटा है.
They carry it in their hands,
they
in the
take it in a
front.
hole and all. Like, this one time, I remember Abhi and I were going to Bangalore, and there was a half an hour halt somewhere in the middle, okay? Half an hour halt, we're just sitting over there and nothing to look on the side because it's pouring also. And the only beautiful thing we have, it was not even like a halt. We were going from Dadar, okay, and we reached early. So Dadar ke tracks pe, there's a hole on the wall, okay, platform ke niche ek hole hai, there's a rat, okay. And people have thrown food from the earlier train and everything, and the rat is now, okay, this is my mission, okay. And there are 4 crows who are hell-bent on stopping this rat from achieving that mission.
It's an action film.
Okay, because they're like, why would we do the work when this rat will go and get the food for us?
John Wick, dude. Like,
So this rat is scavenging food and it's not smart, okay? So it's a rat. He's not thinking कि okay इतना बड़ा केला मैं कैसे लेके जाएगा अपने बिल के अंदर.
like, bro, kela, bro.
He's like केला मिला मेरे को, oh shit. Some nice person left केला behind and he's taking the entire thing. Okay, वो बेचारा पूरा ऐसे हाथ पकड़ के बॉडी पकड़ के एक पैर से चल के जा रहा है ऐसा ऐसा करके एक हाथ से खुद के होल में घुस गया केला अंदर नहीं जाए तो अरे कौवे लोग मारे शुद्ध coming and pecking on the fucking bananas.
Oh shit.
It was half an
These
hour.
guys need another animal who can like chop it into equal pieces for all of them and be like, yeah, आपका वाला portion, yeah,
But
आपका
knowing
portion.
rats, right? Rats are very social. So
Yeah.
like, it's like they have communities. So that rat was probably taking it back home for like everybody to get in on. Did you know?
Oh yeah,
Mm.
that's what
Imagine
Ratatouille was about.
He puts a banana on the floor. This is now a banana republic.
Did you know that they did a lot of these studies, okay, with rats, okay, and the studies with rats were basically to see how many rats can, because we know that rats are social. They wanted to see how many rats can form a society, right? And at what point does it break? What point is too much rat? And it was very fascinating because they were like every single time like they went above a certain number, it would go into fucking pandemonium.
Do you know that number?
I think around 1,000 rats or something like that. Okay, and they had massive like जगह पूरा वो लोग ने पूरा labyrinth बना के रखा था उनके लिए. And it was so interesting because they were like it kept fucking up, it couldn't, and then finally they were like, man, they just couldn't make sense of it. But they kind of drew a parallel with people as well, where like people and rats are very similar in that sense because we're both community animals. Like
Rats also apparently another experiment with rats. Now that this podcast is about rats, I guess another experiment they checked how rats get addicted to like cocaine or something they gave them or heroin or one of those drugs, and then the rats would get really addicted to them. But then if the rat had social company
It
to
wouldn't
go
get
back to,
addicted.
then it wouldn't get addicted. Hence proved that loneliness and drug abuse are quite related.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yes.
something both things that all of us know a little bit about.
Imagine little rat jonesing for drugs. He's like, मेरे को drugs दे, drugs दे दो मेरे को.
empty
His 2 little
in a
hands.
party.
Put on a little suit and go on the news and be like, which drugs though? Which drugs though?
Or just like he's going on the street like Ranveer Shori from Traffic Signal and it's be like कि sir मेरा interview है मेरा बटवा चोरी हो गया sir. And then he gives him 10 rupees. चरस खा रहा है.
I've always been very fascinated with Bombay rats because they don't give a fuck, dude. They do not give a. They will really waltz in front of you and be like, "Kya hai?" And you'll be like, "Sorry." You walk away.
Yesterday, between
fuck,
me
I
and the
will.
rat, he had more personality. Like I was afraid to approach
Yeah,
the momo,
you-
but he wasn't. He was just
You're
like,
a
"ये तो मेरा
passenger.
मोमो, अब ये मेरा मोमो हो गया,
Yeah,
इस गली में आ गया और गली ने खा लिया."
I like how he has the Dharavi rap voice. It's like
I
he
think वो बांद्रा का है रे, वो थोड़ा बांद्रा वॉइस में बोलेगा. Amen.
yeah. Can I have that momo man?
Bandra.
If it's not too much or something.
I love that. I do
I
so
can't rap
many.
in English, though.
I do a lot of rat jokes in my set also.
Yeah.
One of my favorite is this bit that never works where I talk about like this rat who offered me chai. And then I drank chai with the rat. And then he's like overly hospitable. So he called me to his daughter's annual day. So I had to sit and watch his daughter dance to Chunari, you know. With, और मैं और cockroach लोग बस देख रहे हैं. You know, all the cockroach 6 के 6 हाथ से ताली दिया. And it's just the dumbest joke. But I always do it. And that's my measure of the audience.
Yeah.
You know, if they get in on that
Does it have a
joke,
punchline though?
Oh, it has.
Okay,
yeah,
just checking.
Good question.
Good, yeah.
It's like it's a rich imaginary world, but I was just wondering if it's reaching like those Norm Macdonald stories where they like he does have an extremely long rich setup for like a really horrible punch.
That's
I thought
usually
Like
that's
the bug and the depression bug.
the moth.
Moth. Sorry.
Oh, yeah,
A
the
moth
moth
goes into the podiatrist's office.
Yeah.
Hey man, doc, I'm not doing so good, doc.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
But
Hey,
no.
Tell
what-
the end also. I don't think the
Oh, no,
podcast
no,
listeners
no.
know
You
the
have
end
to
of
watch
that
You have to
joke.
watch it. Go
watch
home,
it.
Google Norm Macdonald moth joke.
Did you
And then
watch?
play Aakash Mehta saying that joke side by side.
The Chuha one, yeah. Dude, once we were standing at Churchgate station, okay, and this is the time when we were in college and we were like, oh, Churchgate is so cute, remnants of British era. And we're walking and everything, and the entire day we've been taking photos of all the Maidans and all the buildings and everything. And finally we come back to catch a train to Bhayandar. This is the reality of it, okay. We're standing at the station and there's a bunch of white people losing it. Okay, they're just like, get the camera out. One guy's opening the lens, one guy's putting the. And I'm like, what are they clicking? And then they're routing on the tracks. Okay, an entire fucking cavalcade of rats on top of each other just doing this. But if someone threw a vada or something, and then like some 20 of them came from nowhere, did an entire surge of rat orgy and then fucked off.
Did you know that in Mumbai you have to kill? There are rat killers who are. It's a pushteni job. It gets transferred from father to son. It's one of those jobs, and they are rat killers, and they have to. They have
rat
to
catcher too from Suicide Squad.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
And they have to keep catching rats because if the rat population goes up above a certain amount, then the city will get the plague. So it's like those are the unsung heroes of Bombay, like who are killing rats.
We're still on rats. My brain, I just don't know why we're still.
What do you think this podcast was about?
No, I've been trying to figure out ever since I got here. I was like, okay, what is the like? Where's the goal of this part?
You managed
No,
to,
I didn't.
Okay.
Now you will. Now you'll be like,
Now I
what
will
is this
listen.
conversation?
Yeah, I wanna know.
You'll go back just
Sometimes-
to see if everyone else went through the same thing.
Yeah, did they all go through
It
this?
is, yeah.
Like,
Most
हम
of
क्या
it-
कर रहे हैं हम यहाँ
we
पे?
catch a
Exactly.
nerve and we kind of stick to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also you know how these podcasts have whenever there are guests, like everybody takes a role. That's what I've realized. Like this person is is the naysayer, the other person's the
I'm
adder.
top is bottom. That's pretty much like how we
pretty
are.
much
You're top, he's bottom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Much in life.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm middle sandwich.
You're the belly dance. Acha, Sejal, tell us about. I've known you for like 3-4 years now through comedy.
Actually, I have not hung out with either of you that much at all. Which
Exactly.
is my problem. I think right now I'm just
Yeah.
like हमने establish करनी चाहिए थी friendship आने से पहले.
हाँ.
Because now one-on-one equation नहीं हो पा रहा. मुझे समझ नहीं आ रहा है. मैं
Because Puneet
triangle-
came before this and
Yeah.
we just started talking about like politics out of nowhere. But
Oh, okay.
let's establish that Sejal is not hung out with us and this is the only chance we get.
And she does talk about other stuff than rats. This just happens to be.
Yeah,
right
just
now.
today somehow we are stuck in this.
The Momo
little
rat thing
hamster
happened
wheel.
and we kind of like.
This rodentious
There's just so
conversation.
many rodents are a big part of life. Like, when did you grow up?
When did I grow
Where
up?
did you grow up?
When did you grow up and where did you grow up?
I grew up a
And
while
how did
back.
you grow up? Why did you grow up?
I grew up across a few cities because my dad used to travel every 3 years. His job was transferable, so
Oh, bank or
Bank,
job?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, then you
So-
must. So I'm sorry. Now I just feel like asking about rats from different cities.
yeah.
I would say if you were an animal, you would be a rat. This one would be a monkey. I would
feel
be
it.
a. You can give me one.
You'd be a possum.
Why would I be a rat?
It
Awesome
has to be
possum.
rodenty.
Yeah,
Oh, it
or
has to be
rodenty.
rodenty?
squirrel.
A monkey is
A bandicoot.
rodent?
You could be a bandicoot.
What's a
then.
bandicoot?
Bandicoot is one of those big ass
Bandicoot,
fucking
those
rats.
giant fucking like जिनका पिछवाड़ा ऐसा jiggle करके
One of them
जाता
ran
है.
over my feet once and I was like, Jesus fucking Christ.
Oh man.
It felt like a fucking dog ran over my feet. It's
Oh,
so
dude.
heavy and so big.
It is. It looks like a waterbed covered with fur.
Oh,
it's just,
shit.
but
It's-
just like wiggling around on its own somehow.
Yeah.
They're not
Have you seen
afraid.
that Pickle Rick episode where he's killing rats?
Yeah.
Those will be bandicoots. Like this giant ass fucking rabbit ass
Yeah.
motherfuckers. Like, and I learned over time that mice are not the bad ones. Mice are just like the cute little ones.
Yeah, the
which
white
Mickey
ones.
was or
Yeah,
which like Jerry was.
Yeah.
But the rats are like harami mother.
Yeah.
So like they're the kind of rats who go home and abuse their wife and all. They drink tarra and all.
Hey, Pushpa.
हाँ, वही वाला.
तेरे को बोलेला था ना कि चाय गरम मांगते हैं.
हाँ,
White color की बनियान पहन के उसमें holes लगे हुए सिगरेट जलाया उसने ठुस करके
लुंगी पहनता ही जाके बोलते सतरंगी देना सतरंगी. He's one of those rats are those. Okay, and mice are just like कि sir, would you like some
like
soup,
a cup
sir?
of tea?
Yeah.
What a little cup. My little hat.
My friend Sumaira in Baroda, she was an art student. I really love her. She's the one who made me understand that art is like paintings, how to watch, look at, and all that. Before that, I was just like, oh, colors. And then she was like, no, look at this brush strokes. It's saying something, every like detail, all that. But anyway, she had a mouse that she had as a pet, which she found off the street. Which I was very
Legit.
disturbed. I was
Yeah.
like, dude, yeah. She's like, yeah, it must be some lab mouse. And I'm like, dude, that's not.
What color was it?
It was white with red eyes.
Yeah.
Ajay, but when it crawls up you, na. So Ajay, कुछ नहीं होता है, फिर गांड फटता है.
but I would enjoy it, I think.
Dude, so like my
It must be
godfather got
tiny.
one. Like my godfather is one of those people who's just like कि तेको नीचे मेरे को दे दे. Like he's one of those people. Random man he is, okay, and he's a full like he'll jugado his way into like living his entire life. And my godmother's very like much like what the fuck are you doing? Like कुछ भी उसका एक उंगली गायब है. I told you that story. Remember? Like randomly he was getting biryani रिक्शा घूम गया उंगली गायब हो गया बिरयानी लेके आ गया बंदा घर पे उंगली गायब बिरयानी है. Like that kind of guy my godfather is, okay. So one day like randomly he's got a white rat and he's calling us home to see, and I'm like, okay, I'm terrified of rats, but I'll see what this novelty about white rat is. And the moment I go in, my god sister, his child is sleeping, and this rat is nibbling at the fucking feet ki matlab उठ जा करके, and she kicks the rat, hits the wall. And godfather has to like fucking take it to the vet now.
Oh no.
In 1 minute this entire thing happened, okay, fucking just splat on the wall. Poor white rat.
Oh, poor white
He
rat.
survived it? Did he live?
He lived, but then they had to give him away. They couldn't keep him in the house.
Give him away to a lab to
There was
give
a
cocaine to?
second Godfather level person who was even more like तुझे नहीं चाहिए तो मुझे दे दे. That kind of like.
Wow. This ये Godfather Godmother जिसके होते हैं वो क्या होता है मतलब like
हम invincible होते हैं. हमें कोई माफिया वाला अटैक नहीं कर सकता. हमारे सर पे हाथ होता है. No,
I've only heard of this concept. I also want one now.
In Christianity, there's a system that okay, if your parents are not there anymore, who will
Yeah,
take
that's
care
the-
of you? Yeah, so essentially, these are God chosen people to take care of you in worst
And it
case
doesn't have to
scenario.
be your masa masi type of
Doesn't have
people.
to be.
It
It
can
could be-
just be like
yeah,
But
friends
is it sometimes masa-masi types?
Yeah, mostly it is.
Mostly
like,
it is that only. But can you just go to a दुकानदार and be like, मेरे बच्चे के godfather बन जाओगे अब?
If you know the guy. Maybe,
Yeah, if you know the guy,
right?
out of nowhere he'll be like, "ये फिर कहाँ आना है मेरे को
Yeah.
बच्चे के लिए?"
So
I
you,
was- I
so
was
that person
godfather.
can deny it.
I was godfather to a couple of kids for some years.
You're not even Christian.
Yeah, that I don't
That
think
didn't
that had
stop
to.
them.
Yeah, that didn't have to do with it. Like, but then the guy got remarried, and then they changed the Godfather. They
They lost faith
wives-
in your
yeah,
godfather ability.
Yeah, he got married to the lady, and the lady's brother became the kid's godfather.
Yeah,
Okay.
and his wife becomes a godmother by default.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Godfather की
हाँ,
wife ही
हाँ.
godmother होगी.
हाँ, but it was funny in my situation because I'm my nephew's godfather, my elder sister's son. Because like I kind of held him in the hospital. I was like, so cute. I want to be his godfather. When I was in the church.
So
Okay.
your
Is it
nephew
like-
will have two godfathers now if you get married or something.
Wait, there's a surprise coming. So there's a point to this. So then I came out and they were like, oh shit. And then the godmother, because I was not married back then, we had kept like a pseudo godmother as my cousin who's also Christian, okay? But then she married a Marathi guy. So she became Marathi.
Okay.
So she was not godmother anymore. And
I like that
Oh, I
transformation.
thought he would become the new godfather.
Yeah, but
because she
imagine
got-
like she became Marathi, like overnight,
became-
like just
Yeah.
like
one day.
now he's
Just
Dev
like-
Papa in Marathi. But no, so
Suddenly
then
a Chandrama appeared on her forehead.
so that too Marathis already have. They have that tika which is crescent shaped. So she is, null and void as godmother. I'm also null and void as godfather because I'm never going to get married to a woman.
yeah.
So my poor godchild has no godfather.
Oh no.
Oh no.
He calls me godpa sweetly, but I'm like, don't put God in my fucking.
Is there a like a documentation of who
There
the
is.
child's in,
Yeah.
in church?
Oh,
I'm
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is very formal stuff.
It
This
is,
is not
yeah,
some
yeah.
just for fun at the dinner
No,
table
no.
shit.
So in the church, you have to sign a document and all that you promise in God's sight
Yeah.
that this baby will never be harmed. as you are.
during the
So
baptism.
if the parents die, you have to take care of the child. You can't at that
You don't
point be
have
like,
to, have
actually,
to, but
I'm
like-
not really
yeah.
looking for children. No.
Actually, it was too much commitment for me.
Yeah, it's a
when I
bit
signed the
much.
form, I
When
anticipated them going into a car accident.
I
and
thought
shit.
they'll live, but
We sort of hung out at the birthday party. At the
like in the periphery.
there was a
we
funny
didn't-
story
we didn't-
because I randomly added Sejal to a queer comics group.
That
okay?
did happen though. I will tell the story.
Yeah, go
At
ahead,
some point, I was added to this group called Queer Rated Comedy. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Maybe there's a show. Navin Narona added me into the group. And I was like, oh, maybe there's a show for, like it's about
Allies.
queer material. Yeah, for allies, whatever. Or maybe the material has to do something with it. So then I just sat on the group because I was like, okay, they'll announce the show at some point. Then a day goes by, 2-3 days go by, weeks go by, month goes by, and they just keep discussing things. They keep discussing like today's show lineup. Are you guys on the way, coming? I'm on the way. And I was like, मेरे को कभी कोई कुछ नहीं पूछता है इस group में. Nobody's ever telling me anything. And then at some point, I got kicked off the group. Navin just deleted me from the group.
Because
I was
Ayushi is
like,
like,
"How
Ayushi is asking me, like, Sejal is not queer. Right? I'm like, what? She's like, you added the wrong Sejal to the group. I'm like, oh shit, there's a Sejal Mehra in
But I
Delhi.
didn't know about
Yeah.
any of this. So I was just sitting, I was like, what happened here? Like, because for 1 month I was in a queer-rated group and then now I'm just been kicked out.
Yeah.
Am I not lesbian anymore? Have I been made and then unmade? And then I just went up
They
to
revoked
Navin.
your card.
That's our only hangout. Yeah. I was just like, Navin, what was this about?
I felt so awkward, like
Wrong
throwing you
Sejal.
out of the group because I'm like, oh shit,
I
now
was like, now I want a show. Now I
Yeah.
want to do one.
she's
queer-rated
privy to everything now.
You
Yeah.
could have texted her and been like, hey, sorry, thought you were.
That's the thing about me is like I just assume people are like chill with things, and that's been my problem for the longest time. I'll give you an example. Okay, this weekend we went to Aakash's farmhouse. Okay, and we had to leave at like 5 in the morning. So we were like, okay, no fucking around. Let's get ready. And Abhi's problem, my partner's problem, is that he'll not take out trash until it's like D-Day.
Yeah.
So in our building, Ayushi pays a lady 300 rupees to take out the trash every month. I don't do that because I take out trash and I feed the building cats, as you know. But we didn't solve the problem until now, but we'll come back
Yeah,
to it.
we'll come back.
so that's fucking sidetracking. But now, that morning, we were like, okay, we have to feed the cats, we have to take out trash also. But there was no time to take out trash because the bag guild is closed.
Right.
So I just left like 3 bags, like massive bags of kachra, okay, with cat litter, boxes, everything outside Ayushi's house. I just left my trash outside Ayushi's house and I fucked off to the farmhouse where we are like out of zone.
And then he wonders why she didn't pick up his keys.
Yeah. And I left my keys outside my house saying ki Ayushi, whenever you feel like, feed the cats or whatever. So then now I have done this, and second day of the trip, she like, Navin, if you leave trash outside my house, why don't you tell me?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, Lama.
You just thought she'll make the connection herself.
Yeah, because it's not the first time either. This has like happened multiple times in the past. And if you smell cat piss,
on a
it's
regular
mine.
basis, you leave garbage outside somebody else's house for them to collect your garbage and give it to the lady.
But the garbage picker will collect the garbage from Ayushi's house. So no sweat for her.
So you're
Where
hoping
do
that
you
she will
stay?
not even see this new garbage that's appeared outside her house.
Yeah,
And
that's usually,
Okay.
Where do you stay right now? Are you on rent somewhere in Bombay only?
Yeah.
And you're,
My garbage arrangement is that the first day that this Didi, the one who cleans up and helps out with dishes and stuff, she came to the house first day. She was like, "मैं कचरा ले जाऊँ क्या अपने साथ बाहर छोड़ के?" Like just while she's leaving, and I was like, "Okay." And to this day, she does it every day now, and
That's
I've
great.
never brought it up as like, "Oh, this is an extra."
my
thing
lady
to do.
used to charge me for it as well. I used to pay $100 a month.
She uses it as leverage against me when during negotiations. She does.
So this
yeah.
lady who does our building, she's very smart. First day she came, like, because we had just moved into a new house.
Yeah.
So all the old kachra from like the previous tenant we cleaned
came
out and all that.
yeah.
Put it in a giant bag, and we were like, this bag is too big. I don't know who picks up or whatever. She comes in the morning, मैं लेके जाओ. I'm like, cool, लेके जाओ. Next morning we kept kachra, no one came. Third morning kachra, no one came.
Because you can sell all the old shit. You
Yeah.
can't really sell day-to-day kachra.
Fourth day,
Yeah.
then my neighbors are like, क्या पे चूहा आता है? I'm like, वापस चूहा आ गया यार. and I'm like, don't worry, you have cats. She's like, no, you have to go and take it out yourself. And that's when I learned that you have to actually go and throw. So coming back to Ayushi, I had left my kachra outside her house, and I'm unreachable because we're in this farmhouse where network doesn't come. So she has no idea that I'm the one kept it. Now she has to check the सामने वाले का door camera to see who kept it. And that's how they finalized it was me, because
They checked the footage to find
because
out
she was
who this-
arguing with the kachra wali कि मतलब मैंने नहीं फेंका, and she's like कि आपके घर के बाहर क्यों है? And at no point did Ayushi think that maybe Navin left it.
Right.
Because
even
I
though
never-
he's done it before.
Even though he's done before, and I should have informed her. My bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't inform her.
Say sorry.
Sorry, Ayushi. The only time you'll get an apology from me that's genuine.
Water under the bridge. I'm speaking on her behalf for some reason.
You also say sorry
Yeah.
for all the
For what?
miscreant behavior.
Sorry, Ayushi. I don't know what I did, but I'm sure I did it. And I'm definitely apologetic.
You guys have done some. I don't know what you've been up to, but you know, actually, good day for you. Good day for you. Just getting two random apologies and the little pastries that they told me earlier they will send to you later. So get ready for that. Now both of you. send.
Sejal is baking them herself.
And one for me also. How will I get them? I don't have an oven.
Yeah.
That's my new problem.
So, which are the cities that you stayed in when you were traveling as a child? Bang, bang.
I just
Bhopal-
felt us run out of conversation
Bhopal-
and then
Bhopal?
okay, cool.
Yeah, whenever we run out
Bhopal
of
you
actual
lived
stuff,
in?
we come back
I
to
have
your
no
life.
idea. I figured out what this podcast is. This podcast is both of you talking to each other mainly, with like a third person to be like, oh yeah, they
catalyst.
add like a
Depends on the episode.
like tagline डालने के लिए. Okay.
Sometimes one of us is the catalyst. Today
Yeah.
you just
What's the
have,
catalyst?
You are today being the host in some weird way.
I
Where
am.
yours-
I'm
yeah.
just this my alpha energy, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm beta cook.
I'm Sigma. What is the...
Don't be Sigma. Don't be that cool Sigma grind muscle. I don't care
Yeah.
about the alpha.
Oh, that's Sigma?
No, yeah, that's what Sigma
Andrew
is.
Tate.
Sigma is this dumbest. I'm actually on a lot of these incel male groups because I like to keep an eye on the enemy and see what they're up to.
You're in the groups.
Yeah. I'm on the groups.
How?
For a while, I was on Grindr as well, by the way, because I was just like,
That's
how
why I
many
did the group,
dicks
yeah.
do they send to each other? And turns out a lot. So I was like, I guess they're just having open communication. Cool. But these Sigma groups, I have a lot of these males who are just like, we don't care about being beta or alpha because we're just Sigma grind, let's do the hustle, lift the things. And they're just like horribly fucking sexist people, but
Yeah.
they're just like, we don't give a shit. So
Yeah.
they're just like red pill men on like some extra cocaine and testosterone. And it's a horrible place to be, but so entertaining.
Okay, I will be Delta then.
What's the delta?
Air hostess. Airlines.
They
ke liye.
prefer cabin crew.
Cabin
Just
crew.
FYI.
Stewardess.
Yeah.
Steward.
Stewardess.
Yeah.
Steward?
Is there any profession where girls ke liye, they don't have a res at the end?
Prime
Comedian.
Minister.
Podcaster.
There's a comedian.
Comedian, they write.
Not
Yeah.
comeditress.
Yeah. But
So
Prime...
while pronouncing, is it there? Like, hi, I'm a comedian.
No,
Do
but
you know which one I
Prime
said?
Minister, right? There's no Prime Mistress.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not
Prime
Minister.
Mistress. actually.
Prime mistress.
मैं
वो अलग ही
main
जॉब
वाली
है
हूँ।
वो नौकरी अलग है वो उसका KRA बहुत अलग है
Yeah. Oh fuck.
Prime Mistress.
Chief Justice.
This last
of
episode,
Supreme.
Nevin was telling us how he'd be a concubine in medieval India.
You would?
You
I
would be the
yeah.
prime mistress.
I would be the prime mistress. I'm the alpha mistress. There's a sigma mistress also. Yeah.
Who
Fuck
doesn't
the
care
alpha.
about being
There's a Zeta Jones.
Catherine.
Yeah. But you didn't tell us where all you grew up.
Yeah.
I grew up in Haryana and in Kullu Manali and in Meerut and in Jaipur and in Coimbatore and Chennai and then Bangalore and now Bombay.
Oh, nice.
wow.
Because
That's
I'm
a
still
lot of
growing.
places.
Full like you did the whole
Like a little
Mughal path.
Golden quadrilateral.
C section of
Yeah,
India
of
I
India.
went to. Yeah, not,
Which
just
was
not
your
the
favorite
east.
part to grow up in?
Kullu
that?
Manali, of course.
Of
It was
course.
a nice one. Wahan pe,
Yeah.
when I was little, like, it wasn't very built also. So it was just a nice, like, hill station-y space where you could just roam around anywhere. Bridges weren't there. That was a bit of a problem because while going to school, we had to cross the river, like, while sitting in a basket.
Oh, wow.
And then some man would pull it by a rope.
wow.
But other than that little discomfort thing,
Were
it
you the
was
child in
actually
School
quite
Chale
fun.
Hum wala PSA?
Oh,
Remember that?
Roke se na roke hum. I was so optimistic, that song. I really
Suraj
liked it.
sa chamke hum,
So
school
it's such
chale
a
hum.
School Chale Hum.
And this kid is just like doing the entire like trek. Okay, he's doing the triathlon also. He's walking, cycling, swimming to get to school. हमें इतना भी नहीं करना है मेरे को यार. मैं एक दो रिक्शा चेंज करता था, मेरे को टेंशन आ जाता.
Have you guys noticed on the roads, by the way, right now, you know how mannequins used to be like normal before?
Yeah.
Normal headed.
Yeah.
Now they have this trend in the mannequin world where the mannequins are really big headed.
Yeah, we were talking about this recently also, where like
Really?
somebody from Bihar comes, they're like, "What the fuck is this, dude?"
It's so confusing to look at, and it looks like unko sar mein kuch bada sa tumor go raha hai, and it's just like one. Or they do this new thing where the head is not big, but it has like a lot of these lines and no features.
Yeah.
But then like nothing on the head. The head section has a whole different vibe going
Yeah.
on, but the bottom is getting even more detailed per day by day. Like if you lift up a shirt, you'll see like navel.
And abs and shit
yeah.
on
tits.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
just it's like there's somebody else altogether responsible for the upper part of like
I
art.
think the idea they have is like they don't want to make it like gender specific, maybe. Like a lot of I've seen that a lot as
Androgynous.
well. Yeah, like
Yeah.
a lot of the mannequins are pretty androgynous. Like you can't
But
tell.
what will they do about the tits then?
You don't have them
They
anymore.
don't have, no.
So even if they put bras, it's padded bras. They'll put like the cushioning inside it to create that illusion. So it's like there's no like double D size.
That's not unisex.
How?
If you're making tits, then obviously.
But you're not
implying
making
that-
tits. You're making the bra like depending on the size. It could be like one size fits all mannequin. So it could be like it's from the I don't know what the smallest size is, but I'm a double D.
I guess the
So-
idea is that like yeah, uske upar pant shirt bhi laga do, uske upar dress bhi laga do. Maybe something like that.
Yeah.
But I remember there was this court judgment a couple of months ago about mannequins.
Yeah,
like,
but
female
The
mannequins.
law is involved. What did they say?
Something about female mannequins not being allowed anymore because you know like they were getting
Because
stolen.
people are misusing them by
Yeah.
drilling holes.
There's a technological
I'm pretty sure
gap,
there's
no?
some
Like-
shit going
like
on.
The sex dolls aren't advanced enough yet. So like these people are like, okay, mannequins it is.
People are hitting on or like making love
Who knows?
respectfully
Yeah.
to female mannequins.
There's
Of
an entire, like,
the
have you seen
world?
Umbrella Academy, the show?
No, I haven't.
Like this one character who travels too much in the future after the post-apocalypse. Like the only thing left is half of a mannequin, and he falls in love with that mannequin, like how Wilson is
Oh,
in
yeah, I remember that.
Castaway.
Yeah.
And he travels back in time in reality, current time, and he meets her like at a clothing store, and
Yeah.
he's making love to her and dancing around it and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
men are depraved in even the future also.
Hey.
That's what I'm saying.
Hey, that's a good place to take a break.
We take
Yeah,
a break?
30 minutes we did.
Yeah,
Did you
perfect.
realize 30 minutes हो गए?
That's you know
मुझे
what?
लगा 3 घंटे से चल रहा है ये.
छुओ की बातें.
नहीं मेरे को तो हाँ समझ नहीं आया.
नहीं
Break
ना?
है?
Exactly how the audience feels. See you on the other side.
Chew chew.
Like we always planned to.
Welcome to Varta Lab second half with R&B singer Sejal Bhat and Navin Noron.
This is my vocal
That's a fun
exercise.
sound.
Can
do
you do it?
you ever do vocal exercise?
This is my vocal.
You gotta do the.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The actors.
I've
The
seen
actors
some
also do
singers
that?
do some very intense ones, like they go like.
There's no
All
ghost in your building.
2,000 people listening to the podcast just turn to see if a police is following them. Dude, I was doing this college show once and there was local train. I don't know if I've said this story on the podcast before, but I
The
was
band
doing,
local team.
Yeah, the local train was performing
Oh.
after me.
I thought. Yeah.
And they were doing voice rehearsals in the green room.
Okay.
And I'm performing and I pause for the punchline or piche se And the worst part is only I can hear it. The audience can't hear it.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I'm
man.
constantly being thrown off by this guy's alaps in the background.
It's like how comedians do really bad jokes off stage,
Yeah.
we're just like damn unfunny, but
Yeah.
like all the time, and just
Yeah.
like trying jokes, horrible jokes.
Yeah.
I don't even
Practice.
try. I know they're bad. Like that's the
The-
joy of it
yeah.
is seeing somebody's face crunch up when the joke is so bad.
Yeah.
The weirdest part was like when Canvas used to be there. Canvas had like a stage, and there was an alleyway that led to a green room. Okay, where the
Yeah.
green room where all comics would chill.
Yeah.
People who are on the lineup as well as people who are not on the lineup would just come over there. And on a given day when the audience is not on your side in Canvas, you're cracking jokes with dead silence while the room is fucking going crazy.
Losing its
Because
mind.
they're seeing you on the TV tanking and they're making better jokes at your expense in the
Yeah.
room. So the comics are losing it while you're just like sucking balls on stage. Okay? Just the
Those are
biggest
always
death.
the best shows, like where you're just horrible in front of the audience, but in the back you can hear everybody who's a comic going like ha ha, ha every time you bomb.
Yeah, some comedians just start performing to that audience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they're like, तुम लोग गांड मारो, मैं back of the room के लिए ही jokes करेगा.
Actually, my pura career is about getting friends who are funny. So never mind you unfunny guys who have to pay to listen to funny things, who can't make each other laugh at home. Apparently, sometimes I feel bad for the audience. It's like, did you ever like watch a lot of comedy by paying tickets, money?
I was just thinking of that. I've only ever bought tickets for 2 shows till now.
Same. I bought like 2 in the beginning when I was just trying to understand comedy. and
Interestingly,
shit.
not even in the beginning.
Oh.
I mean, one though I bought for Bilbo when he came. That was
Yeah.
a ticket. Then who
Fair.
was that other guy who came?
Eddie Izzard
Eddie
came.
Izzard, I bought that. Those I'm not counting. India mein. Only twice. Once I had bought tickets for someone else because I wanted somebody to go and watch Vipul Goel. So I was like, I'll buy you the tickets, just go and watch, you'll love it. The other time was at TCC Bangalore, where they wouldn't let me into the venue.
So you had to buy a ticket.
So I had to buy a ticket.
Were you
to-
performing also that day? That would be
No,
really
I
sad.
had to watch. I wanted to watch Saurav Ghosh's Hour, and they
Oh.
wouldn't let me in. And I was like, bro, but like,
Should have come to Habitat. They were letting in for free.
No.
Anybody.
No,
Cops,
but this was Bangalore
The
wala
thing
na.
is, with music, at least you could prove that you're also a musician. You're like, but
like,
as a comic, you can't be like, have you noticed the logo of Punjab National? You can't like crack a joke.
But you can.
Yeah.
I showed
What's the
them.
deal with not giving me entry, guys?
But I showed them. I showed them
The
on
other
YouTube
day,
channel.
I was walking and I wasn't given entry, and it's right now actually this day.
Yeah.
Yeah, then I ended up buying a ticket, man. I felt very stupid buying that ticket. I
only
still
bought-
regret buying that ticket.
I remember two shows I had
Ask
watched
Sam
before
to
going to comedy.
reimburse you.
Yeah.
Sam से पैसा निकलना.
जो शो किया उसका पैसा नहीं
मेरे को
मिला.
पैसा मिलेगा guys. That's because मैंने ज़्यादा पैसे नहीं बनाए थे.
Nice. No, but like I remember when I was in college, Canvas had back then was like Comedy Store or whatever. They had Thursdays for students. So I'd done one of those where student ID dikha ke you get half the price. So we'd watch some foreign comics. And then when I really got into comedy after leaving college and starting work and all, I'd watched Sharul Channa, who's an Indian Singaporean
comedian.
It was terrible.
You didn't like
because there were 4 of us.
Ah.
Which only like hearkened to what reality would be a few years later for us also.
Yeah.
Which was just like, let me get used to this. Because it was my friend Nikhil, me, and she kept asking me about the girls I like, and I was like, okay. I was not even out then, so I'm like, after like 5 questions of awkwardness, I was like, yeah, I'm gay. So like, then she had to come back to that. She was like, oh fuck, I found a gay in India. Oh shit, I didn't adapt to that part. Yeah.
Yes, okay. I've never seen a gay.
Yeah, and then I was like, I started doing it myself only, and I was like, okay, cool. This is not that difficult.
Yeah.
Also.
Beginnings of comedy.
The beginning.
Worst.
Good
But
times.
I watched a lot of comedy otherwise. Like my brother would get me Comedy Central Presents ka pura seasons on hard disk.
That's a very supportive family.
No. Before I even like he used to study abroad. So when he used to come, I used to be like, can I have a hard disk for one afternoon? And then just like copy paste
This is
everything.
your older brother?
Yeah.
You have one older brother.
Yes.
You, Navin?
I have 2 older sisters. They're not as
Oh.
cool.
Do you have any siblings?
Okay. I have one younger sister.
How many years gap is it?
It's just like 3.5. So it's for all practical purposes, she's the older bully sort of person.
And you
in my
became a
life.
comic, so then she has better prospects in life.
Actually, she's really funny inside the house, which allows me to just be an observer of funniness inside the house. And then outside, I go and like, ab chahiye mere ko attention bahar.
take her jokes and use it outside.
I think I may have done that also, maybe.
Hilarious.
I mean, her sense of humor has rubbed off on me
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
But like younger siblings tend to be the runt of the litter and therefore want the attention as well. I feel
Runt
like,
क्या होता है?
Like, you know, when
Kacha
dogs
pillu.
and cats have like kids and then they have like the 4 ones which are catting and dogging probably, and one is just like गिर रहा है ऐसा.
उससे नहीं हो रहा है
The
like.
Bukha raha hai.
weed, the victim.
The victim animal,
The
the
weak
ugly
one.
duckling essentially
Yeah.
of the
Okay,
group.
okay.
Yeah. So
So yeah.
But like, if
all of my cats are runts only. Like they were abandoned by their cats, and then they
Sounds
were
like you're swearing for some reason. This
yeah,
is like
it's the R word. Like the C
don't
word.
call
but
me a runt, okay?
What is runt behavior, bro? She's a runt.
मैं चाटे भी खाती हूँ but sex करते वक्त.
Hey, you and me both, sister. We were talking about paintings in the first half. And
Yes, what a smooth segue. We were obviously, yeah, that's what we were talking
Are you artistically inclined though? We heard you singing, but drawing also.
did you ever get trained for singing?
No.
No, you just like sing because
I just enjoy I enjoy nice acoustics in a room, and that makes me sing. That's all.
Fair,
Yeah.
fair.
Whenever I hear echo and vibe, just reverb around, then I just get into it somehow. But speaking of paintings, so what I was thinking, you were saying something about paintings, about how somebody helped you understand paintings.
how to look at a painting. Yeah,
the strokes.
Because I feel like the opposite happened with me. For the longest time when I was reading like this Da Vinci Code type of books when I was growing up, and I thought that you were supposed to understand a painting. And then as I grew older, I realized that you don't have to. You can just feel it, and you can just, just like
Fair,
how
yeah.
with comedy, you don't. If you're just you're an audience, you can just just enjoy it. You don't have to understand the craft and technique of it. And that seems like that's the more fun part of painting. So now I can actually enjoy abstract art also because of that. Because it looks like like, oh, इसने बस blue paint कर दिया, उसका क्या होता है, ये तो मेरा बच्चा भी कर सकता है.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
then
that's how I feel. Like
But
art
nahi kiya na.
galleries. Exactly. No, when I go to art galleries and all, na, like you'll see the prices, dude. It's like some
so
fucking 5 crores and all, and I'm like, it's just like a blue paint with yellow in the middle.
Yeah.
But of course, like it's not blue, it's cerulean blue, and it's like fucking sundown yellow or some shit.
Prussian.
And, so you don't know all this.
There's a lot of scope to faff, and like, you know what I mean? Like a lot of art has to do more with how art collectors value you than the art itself, right? Like, you know what I mean?
Do you think an art evaluator, connoisseur type of a person can tell, like, if I make a blue, like just a perfect blue, like a replica or whatever of like just one frame with everything versus like a master's same exact frame? Do you think they can tell the
Yes,
difference?
They can. That's
For
what
a
they
lot
do.
of
Sure,
for a-
I'm pretty sure they
No,
can.
for a lot of reasons. It's not like wine tasting.
That's
right?
what I was just gonna say. Yeah, they did that with wine tasters, connoisseurs. They
Sab
put
chute
like
nikle.
they
They
switched
did,
the
they
bottles.
lick the paint, and I'm getting a little bit of Florence in this.
But I told somebody about this wine thing because I was trying to prove like art is subjective and abstract. And then that person was like, नहीं, but अगर तुम bottle switch करोगे तो पुरानी वाली का aroma उसमें रह जाता है. So it could be because of that, because they have witnessed some connoisseur actually just like smell and tell them which year it was, the soil was, nutrition there was in the soil, what kind of a weather it was grown
unless you
in.
can cross-check that information, it's pretty
They
useless.
did. They checked it. They cross-checked it with the bottle. But the thing
That's-
is, in this case, that this person was like, there was no switching of the bottle.
Right.
So I don't really know
that
about
also
this.
makes a difference. I feel like with art though, like I had done.
They have a great name, sommelier.
Huh?
The ones who knows the wines. I have a
Sommelier.
daddy friend who's a sommelier.
I had done this writing gig for somebody who happened to be an art historian person. And they told me, like they sat and broke down a couple of paintings for me. Like there was this Maharaja that used to paint, I forget his name, but a very prominent Indian painter, okay? And they had...
Salman Khan.
Yeah, maybe. There was an
one Maharaja who
original,
paints.
there's
He's
an
a
original and a
princess.
duplicate, right? And then he started showing me like, okay, what do you see on the face of it? What's different? And then he kind of went into one layer of the technique of it. Then he showed me this document where they have x-rayed the paintings.
Oh, sometimes they paint on top of a painting.
Yeah,
But
so-
that anyway is not visible to the
No,
naked
but
eye outside.
you can tell
so-
whether it's a fake or an original basis that, right? Like if it's
yeah,
a...
Also, the color retention, like
Yeah.
over time, like the fake one which we use for cheaper plain paints, whatever, when light hits it, it becomes faded. It automatically starts losing its luster, as compared to the old people who have used like expensive paints and have
And
taken
also,
extra.
what they
upper
make
coat
the
lagaya.
and what do they make the paints out of? Like earlier, now you don't. Do you know what paints are made of? You don't know, right? Like even I don't know. But like back then, a lot of painters would make their own paints from scratch.
Like beetroot को juice करके
कुछ तो करके,
red.
हाँ, सब अलग अलग पत्थर ढूंढ के लेके आते थे कहीं से, फिर उसको मिक्स करके अपने आप ही वो लोग पेंट बनाते थे. So all that makes a difference. And also I feel like one is the technique and one is the cultural background. Like there's this YouTube channel called Great Master, I think Modern Masterpiece Explained or something like that, where he just explains the cultural and social context of the painting. And that gives you so much more like about it. Like, you know that old Japanese painting of the waves and there's a Mount Fuji.
Yeah. It used to be a wallpaper.
It's very famous, yeah.
And I love that painting. I've loved
The
that
white
painting all
capping,
my life, right?
yeah.
Like it's such a beautiful painting. And then you read
It is
about...
my wallpaper.
Is it?
Oh, yeah.
shit, nice.
It is. It's this one, right?
Yeah, this is the one. This is the one.
This one.
Yeah.
So
What is it called?
I think waves
wave.
near Mount Fuji or something like that.
Okay,
But
okay.
every aspect, every tiny object in this painting, it signifies something, right? It was done at a time when Japan was especially afraid of external powers coming into the country. And so like it kind of reflects that in the painting itself. You know, it's like a song, dude. Like no matter how much you know about the song, like at the end of the day, you love the song because of some personal reason only.
Yeah, because
I always felt
didn't
like-
think about that when I put it as wallpaper. But now I'm...
Now you'll...
I'll link you to the video.
I
dude.
have always thought that the wave, this part, it kind of looks like fingers, like about to
Yeah.
attack. You said they were about to be attacked?
Yeah,
They were getting attacked?
It was
'Cause
the fear of
kind of look like
outside,
fingers.
basically.
Yeah, okay, that I kind of see
Japanese
slightly.
xenophobia in art form.
Yeah.
But no, like I always felt like the classics. Okay, everybody talks about like creation of Adam,
Yeah.
or like the man with the apple in the face in
Yeah.
the middle, and then this couple with the scythe, or like this multiple famous, like Mona Lisa is famous. Everybody knows it, but I never thought they were cool. I'm like, okay, it's just like
Yeah.
a guy and a girl, and just like it's a house in the back. They're pilgrims, I guess. I don't
Yeah.
know. But then
This
as you
apple one, I don't know, but I know the god, that one, I kind of like that. because
Michelangelo.
That
Yeah,
man is really
Michelangelo.
like lounged like this.
It's like,
and
यार
it's
मेरे
kind
को
of
नहीं
this-
create होना है, dude,
Yeah,
लेना
it's just like
creation,
name
लेना।
place.
Yeah.
It's like abhi zinda hona hai. It's like
Yeah, like when we were younger and we were in college, we were like, "ये देख इसका लड़को देख के हंस रहा है, देख ये क्या क्या छोड़ा मैंने, भगवान बोला है मेरे को दिया, देखा क्या मस्त छोड़ा."
you know, it's art, it's subjective, you can interpret it however.
Exactly. That's what we would do.
Yeah.
And then, like, for example, we had like an entire, I remember in a school book we had Mona Lisa, okay?
Yeah.
And like it was around 8th or 9th when boys are horny, so everybody's like drawing extra cleavage for her, making her busier. उसको मूंछ बना रहा है, उसको earrings दे रहा है, वो बेचारी वो Mona Lisa बेचारी, died and went away. One little memory of her is now tarnished by 8-year-old
Hey,
boys.
fun
8-year-old
fact
boys.
about the
Mona Lisa?
Yeah.
Okay, your fun fact
You go
first, please.
first, you
No,
go
no,
first.
please
No, you go first.
Both have
Fine,
fun
I'm
facts.
guessing you'll have a better one, so I'll go first then. The technique that was used in that painting, because of which I think Da Vinci also generally got famous, is this thing called sfumato, which is, I think, the SFUMato. And then the technique is basically he figured out how to blend from one color to the other in the most seamless way possible, from light to shadow, instead of those hard lines that they would
Yeah,
have to do before
yeah.
that. That's all.
No, mine was like, did you know how the Mona Lisa made it to the Louvre?
She walked over there.
So Napoleon went on this rampage through Italy.
Oh, yeah,
and
this I've heard, yeah, correct.
indiscriminately looted every piece of art he could find.
Yeah.
So Louvre ka pura collection, like a significant portion, has
Revenge
come
porn.
from
Yeah.
It's just literally like war. Like it's war ka main chori kiya hua mal.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah.
But that's what the British Museum is also, no? Famously.
Yeah. But like if you look at per person contribution wise, so Napoleon and his army did a lot. Like वो लोग ने कुत्ते की तरह लूटा है पूरा इटली को. And even then later on, like he did this whole thing where he like, I'll go to Egypt now and I'll go to conquer Egypt. So he went, he got Cairo. Okay, he got the Rosetta Stone and all he found there. Then he went further south. फिर उसका गन फट गया क्योंकि उसका सोल्जर लोग डेजर्ट में वूलन कपड़ा पहन के बेंचो वो बैग खींच के जा रहा है चूतिया लोग and then they resorted to eating horses, camels,
Yeah.
dogs, whatever they could to just stay alive in there.
Much like the rats of Bandra.
Yeah. And then the Mamadukes were there who were fucking trying to attack them from piche. The bubonic plague happened. His army started dying. So you know what he fucking did? He went there for a photo op. Okay. He went to the plague house, did a photo op. He had a painter. Like, you know how war journalists are there now? Like, who take photos? They had painters. So the painter drew this painting of like Napoleon, like God touching this guy and healing him or whatever. The guy posed for the photo, finished the photo, came fucking out and ordered everybody be poisoned and killed. Okay, and like 4 people survived that. They are the ones who came out and said, "ये news England में चल रहा है." Paris में Napoleon is like, now ये मजा नहीं आ रहा है. So he fucked off.
What?
He fucked off, dude. He fucked off and he left his army there only कि देख लेना इंग्लैंड आएगा तब माँ चोत के जाएगा तुम्हारा.
Yeah.
He's just like on a horse, like a tuk-tuk
In a
away
ship,
from it.
he smuggled himself out.
Napoleon Bonaparte.
Hey.
He came back to Paris and before the news of what he did came, he reached. right? Because that
Oh.
was back in the day, you could manage that. And he spun the story and made it look like France won in Egypt when they fucking lost.
Shit, okay.
And Egypt and all of France, because he went to Egypt, was fascinated by the
It's
Egyptian
exotic,
exotic, right? Like everything should be chic, oriental, and all that. Just Sphinx bana denge har jagah pe fountain ki tarah, ye wo.
Huh.
Which is why the Louvre has a pyramid.
Oh, the
Ooh, on
thing
top.
is shaped like
On
a
top,
pyramid,
yeah, yeah.
isn't it?
It's a pyramid.
The glass.
You
Yeah.
can see from through it,
Which
yeah.
also I know from Da Vinci Code books.
Exactly, yeah. I know it from Da Vinci and Eat, Sleep, Die, Repeat.
Okay,
the
I
movie.
don't know that movie.
The movie with Tom Cruise and
Eat, sleep,
Emily.
die, repeat.
That's
Yeah.
Edge of Tomorrow.
It sounds like the
The
description
movie
of...
was rebranded because Edge of Tomorrow was not selling, so they rebranded the movie as Eat, Sleep, Die, Repeat
okay.
to sell it faster in other countries. Edge of
Do you
Tomorrow.
realize eat, sleep, die, repeat just sounds like Hindu like belief system
Yeah.
in one
Yeah.
phrase.
Yeah.
Eat, sleep, die, repeat.
And the
actually.
Catholic one is Eat, Sleep, Rave, Repeat. Just like it's like that.
Oh, I did
good
not know
times.
this about
Yeah.
Mona Lisa.
But coming
Go
back to
there.
paintings, I just feel that paintings are one like Van Gogh ka painting. Before I knew anything about paintings, before I understood anything about any art form, when I saw Van Gogh ka the one I had at my
Sunflowers.
house.
Yeah.
No, there's one of
Lilies. The blue wala.
No, it's just a green color ka field.
Like a van.
Oh yeah.
I forget what it's called, but it's like I saw that as a kid. And I remember like just standing and like everyone else walked ahead. You know what I mean? And I was just standing and staring at it. And everyone was like, kya ho gaya? And I'm like, dude.
Yeah, that's
Like, look
what
at
I
this.
think
Did you
experiencing
know
art. I
Martin Scorsese has played Van Gogh in a movie?
Huh?
Yeah.
Oh really?
It's the most out of the blue casting I ever
Man,
seen.
I cannot stand
So-
Scorsese anymore. I saw some other movie by him recently with Adam Driver in it. It's the most boring thing. I
Which
thought
movie was
Adam
this?
Driver's in it, so I'll be like, I'll sit through somehow. Silence or something it's called. It's
Oh,
horrible.
it's a good
It's
movie.
like, no, what are you saying?
As a Christian, I like the movie better.
What? This
So
is not,
it's
about
Adam
Christianity.
Driver and Andrew Garfield,
And- yeah.
who are priests
The bad
from
Spider-Man.
Spain,
Oh,
who have been
I've heard
sent
of
to
this.
Japan.
Did you not
Conversion.
find Garfield so annoying? It's like he's pretending to be an actor. You know how there's acting and there's pretending to acting. That's what he was doing in the movie. The whole time he's just sitting there and just be like, for all the love of, and he's just like
So what I think what the problem is because he's playing a Spanish man. The horrible accent is the problem. If they just cast somebody from Spain, it would have been much better. But I get it. It's a slow burner, but the end of the movie is
Yeah.
so powerful. Oh,
Yeah?
So get to the end of the
Okay,
movie because
okay.
and like
I'll try it
if I
again.
showed my mom that movie, she would start crying because they like fully show Jesus ka didn't have photos back then, so they had like wood constructed of like cross and shape and everything,
Yeah.
and they make you spit and stand on it to I don't believe in Jesus. I'll believe the Buddhist religion. So back feudal Japan was so brutal that they had to go through this.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's what-
Scorsese, like,
Which is when that painting got made.
yeah.
This thing, oh, it's related to this one horrible movie that I saw. What?
yeah. It's actually a good movie.
Oh.
Don't take Sejal's word for this. I'm a movie connoisseur, if nothing else.
Yeah.
But
he can smell
I'll
the
watch
film
it
ka reel and tell you who directed it.
But no, so I was watching Kurosawa's Dreams. I don't know if you all have seen that movie.
I have to see it,
it's
yeah.
on
I've
YouTube if
not.
you want it. And it's basically him translating 12 dreams that he had throughout his life. And you see Kurosawa growing from a boy to the adult version. So there's this whole first story is like if it's raining and it's sunny, foxes are getting married. So his mom is like, don't go in the jungle because foxes are getting married. And he goes and there's foxes getting married. And
Why is this
Wow.
the
this anthropological fox is just like doing karke, they're going, there's a drum playing, they're slowly watching.
Nice.
And then he looks and then the foxes all look at him and then mom doesn't take him inside because she's like, you have to go and say sorry to them and then come back home.
To the foxes, you have to
Yeah.
say sorry because they were getting married and you interrupted,
and you
these
interrupted the whole
animals.
thing.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
it's Japanese folk culture thing that they have inculcated. So it's called Dreams and it's very abstract. That's the whole point. The Scorsese one, which is where he plays Van Gogh, is essentially a guy who's in an art gallery. He's going from one painting to the other, he's going from that, and comes to like the daffodil wala photo
Yeah.
that he had, the yellow or whatever. And he looks at it, and next thing you know, he's in the art.
Ah.
And he's seeing Scorsese scout for locations and everything. And by the time his cut is 1 year, so he's roaming around clueless, and people are telling him that's the madman, don't talk to him and everything. And he's following him, and he's trying to tell him, ki, you are a legend in our time right now, but he doesn't believe him and all
Yeah.
that. It's beautiful. Just check it out.
When we were in Melbourne for the shows this time, Ravi Gupta, it turns out, was a big Van Gogh fan as
Oh,
well.
nice.
So I was very surprised. Oh, yeah, company to go. And there was an exhibit, okay?
Wow.
Most beautiful thing I've seen in my life. I've never had an experience with art which was so like, it like elevated everything for me. Like, एक तो उसका एक छोटा सा ऐसा एक रहता है, a tunnel thing, you know, like an art gallery. And there's different exhibits. Like one is like take a photo inside a painting. So they made a thing to look like the painting. And
Oh
you can
shit,
sit in it.
nice. But is it one of those with your face cut out?
No.
उसमें जिसमें
It's
होता
the
है?
painting of his room. So you're in that room and you're sitting. I'll show you
Okay,
after
okay,
this.
okay.
So you get out of this and suddenly you enter this place and this music is fading in, right? Like this classical music is fading in. And as soon as it's a huge space and everything has projector on it. Like everything is being projected on. And everything is the paintings of his, like
But if
broken
you
down
walk
to
through the
elements.
room, then you're also being projected on?
Yes.
So, okay.
So
okay.
everybody and everything is the painting now, all of a sudden.
Just
Everybody's a
standing like this.
canvas to the
Yeah.
painting.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
painting is the light.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was just fucking,
Surreal,
like,
yeah.
it blew my mind.
Yeah.
Because,
That
like,
sounds
I've
nice.
fucking seen this thing all my life. And I've
Yeah.
been in love. And now I'm in it. Like, I'm literally physically in the fucking thing. Even he has this one painting of the cafe. They made a cafe inside, which was the cafe from the painting. So you're sitting in the cafe from the painting and
No,
having a coffee.
The maja aata hoga na when arts
Yeah.
gets commissioned and people pay money for that kind of stuff, for people to watch in general, dude.
Wow,
Oh,
man.
fuck.
And when you see something like that, you come out with such a feeling of humility and appreciation for the world around you. Like, you know, it's just an experience to have to come back to reality. And then
Yeah.
you step out of that fucking place,
Yeah.
you know, and suddenly you're like, no, I
Oh,
want to.
there goes gravity. Oh, dude, and here what we have is fucking Kala Ghoda Arts Festival. dude. रास्ता ब्लॉक करके जे स्कूल ऑफ आर्ट्स के बच्चे लोग का एग्जीबिशन देखो तुम लोग क्या
वो भी नहीं
चीज़
होता है. It's like.
But speaking of one more pop culture reference for Van Gogh, have you seen the Doctor Who episode when they bring
Yes.
him? They bring
Oh,
him into
yeah,
prison.
and he sees his paint.
Yeah,
oh,
because
I
they
cried
get
so
the
much.
most depressed version of Van Gogh because he's such a like going through a bad
Yeah.
phase, and they bring him to reality in modern time, and there's an entire art exhibition,
Yeah.
same thing, where he's like, "This is my work, and he starts fucking breaking
Yeah.
down.
Oh shit!
I
No,
still
wait,
have-
which season is this in? I don't think I have
the
seen
Matt
this.
Smith season.
Oh shit!
It
Those
was
are the
like
ones
some-
that I kind of started ignoring
Yeah.
after a point.
He's got a Van Gogh thing
Yeah.
also.
Oh, I have the sunflowers in my room.
I got a bunch of these little things from there because I was just like,
Yeah.
बनता है.
शक्ल से ही लग रहा है डिप्रेस था ये आदमी.
था तो सही है.
है ना? और वो वाला कान छुपा ही दिया कटा वाला.
Also, another fun fact if you're interested, Van Gogh story. Van Gogh not appreciated when
I love
he
how
was
this
alive.
podcast
Yeah.
started with a rat. That's Van Gogh.
And by the end, when he passed
Somebody
away,
draw a Van Gogh style rat and send it to us. Okay,
please
after
do,
all of
please
this.
do.
Oh, that would be so
Really,
nice.
yeah.
I'll frame it. Yeah.
So when he passed away, his brother also passed away a little while after that, I think. And the brother's wife published their letters to each other. Okay.
Oh.
And now this was the time.
His brother's name was Django.
Yeah.
Believe me for a second. dude. Like Django Unchained.
I also thought it was real. I was like, Vincent, Django होता है, भाई भाई हो सकते हैं.
No, Van Gogh तो दोनों के नाम मिलेगा ना. He's Vincent Van Gogh or like
Yeah.
Django, Van
Vincent
Gogh.
Van Gogh. Django.
So the book got published, and this was at a time when a lot of American collectors who were late to the party wanted to get a lot of European artists.
Okay.
So the book plus this shortfall of European painters to buy is why Van Gogh got appreciated at all.
I zoned out during that sentence.
It's
Sorry.
okay.
There was not enough art to show Americans.
It had weird pauses.
No, in the
my
sense
brain
ki,
went off.
the only reason his art did manage to succeed was not on the merit of the art itself. It was the fact that a book was released at the right time.
Yeah.
It was all right
Oh,
place,
okay,
right
okay,
time
okay,
only,
okay,
basically.
okay.
You know what I
Kismet.
mean?
The letters are
Yeah.
that good, you're saying?
Oh, you should read that book. It's a beautiful book. Like
It's
I've
just
never
an
seen.
exchange of letters.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
feel, oh shit, okay.
And talking about life and
With
how
your
they
sibling,
feel for. Yeah.
that would be so honest and
I
just
tried
raw.
to. Yeah, dude. And I tried to get my
yeah.
brother to read it. And he was like,
Yeah.
no.
There's also a movie.
What is this?
That must have been such an attempt at like
Yeah.
meaningful shit. It's
There's
like,
also a
अपने
movie
भाई को
about
लिखा
Van
था.
Gogh's life.
Which
towards
is
the end of it,
painted.
which is painted in Van Gogh style.
In Van Gogh style, which
Some
is beautiful
It took 4
movie.
years to make it with some 1,000 artists like working
Yeah.
relentlessly just
Oh,
to
yeah.
get that like one stroke they're
Yeah.
making as a yellow.
It's
green,
about
green,
after he dies.
Yeah.
He
No,
sounds like he had a lot of anxiety also.
yeah. The story is after he dies, but playing like back to when
Yeah.
he was alive also,
Yeah.
and people around him wondering what
That
happened. to him.
Postmaster is trying to. Yeah.
Let me see what it's called.
I don't know. It's on Amazon Prime. I remember that much.
Yeah.
Oh, phenomenal film.
There was that movie that came out in between, very indie sort of a movie called Waking Life, which was a film, but it had like I think it was painted, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And it
Loving
had these
Vincent.
tiny.
Loving
Oh yeah,
Vincent
I've
is
seen
this
this.
one. Yeah.
The-
Phenomenal.
Was it animated?
Yeah. And
Oh, yeah.
also
Hand painted.
and also there's a
Oh yeah, I have seen this. I have
Yeah.
seen. That's how I got into Van Gogh.
Another one that has
properly.
great art is that show on Amazon Prime only. Fuck, what is it called? You know about the girl with schizo.
I have no idea what the show is.
Oh my god, I will
Orphan
find
Black?
What is it on?
No, it's on Amazon
Tell me
Prime.
more, I will-
It's an animated show, and it's about a girl with schizo and she keeps seeing visions of her dad. The guy who plays Saul.
I know. It's called
Yeah, that's what.
that where she's looking
I
from
don't know.
the timeline. Something.
Undone.
Undone. Correct.
Dude.
correct.
Wow, I can't believe you guys actually got it. Okay.
Rosa Salazar
That's
is the
one.
main actress.
Yeah.
Rosa Salazar, and then Saul Goodman character.
yeah.
Apna Bob Odenkirk plays
Bob
the father.
Odenkirk plays the father. and-
Better Call Saul wala boy.
Yeah, him.
Dude,
Okay,
what
okay.
a great fucking show, dude. Like,
It is.
season 2 is just like a culmination, like it's just a conclusion.
I know.
But
Season 2 has come. I want to watch it. It's rotoscoped entirely. So they're acting in real life.
What scope?
Rotoscope. It's an art form. Rotoscope.
Okay.
Have you seen Scanner Darkly?
No.
That's an art form where people act out in real life, and then artists will sit and draw over it to make them look like
Oh.
animated fluid creatures
Okay,
or whatever.
okay.
So
This is what I'm talking about. That movie that came out long back, Waking Life, was this only because Ethan
Correct.
Hawke and all of these, Julie Delpy were apparently in it. But and you
All
could tell them
animated, yeah.
once in a while because when the expression changes, something human happens,
Correct,
and you can
correct.
see the person suddenly. But
Yeah.
it was, what is this one called?
rotoscoping.
Rotoscope. No, okay.
Undone.
Undone the movie. The show.
Rotoscoping is like a manual version of like CGI. What CGI does is with
Kind of.
digitally.
Yeah,
Rotoscoping
just like
is
when we
hand.
were kids and we used to draw like a butterfly and we did not know how to draw a butterfly, so we'd keep a butter paper on top of it and
Butter
then
paper.
trace a
Trace it,
butterfly.
yeah.
It's butter papering in real life.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Another like famous Van Gogh song is Vincent by Don Mclean
Yeah,
and
yeah,
by
yeah.
Ellie Goulding. It's called Starry Starry Night Star something
I
like
like Ellie Goulding.
yeah, all
I
the
know these old-
trivia we have about Van Gogh, we'll just throw it in right now.
Did you know Van Gogh was a big fan of the color yellow? That's my
Oh, I forgot to tell
contribution
you
to this.
The last.
Because Van Gogh rhymes with mango.
So they had this one.
Correct. That's why.
They had this one segment, okay, inside the room, which was basically the sunflower painting.
Hmm.
But they had kind of manifested it in a three-dimensional space. So it's like glasses everywhere.
Like a sculpture or
And-
like actual sad-looking
So if you look
sunflowers?
from the
like-
side, it's not sunflower. It's like
It's your
Folks.
सब बाजू sunflower ही दिखता है. ऐसा लगता है कि you're actually in a field of sunflowers the way they had designed it. I will find this photo
Just
and
go to
I will.
Humpy.
We're gonna
just
put a
go.
lot of research material after this podcast. Just like
Yeah.
for descriptions, for pictures of all the descriptions that we did very enthusiastically. Please.
this random trivial that goes around on the internet is like
And we
when
are long link google.images/dxzy www. Bunch of links.
It'll be somewhere. Just find us and ask us for it. We'll give it to you. Because
Yeah.
all the information you need in life is available at your fingertips.
पेंटर्स ही बन जाते हैं हम लोग ये छोड़ देते हैं कॉमेडी अगर
हाँ,
See,
नहीं
this was they had this thing where you could be inside the painting.
oh
Like
correct,
it was
yeah.
three-dimensional, but you would feel like you're in it.
Oh,
And then there was
that's very cool. I've
this.
been to one of this kind of thing in Delhi.
Oh wow, sunflower everywhere.
Oh shit, those
Yeah.
are real flowers.
Yeah.
Oh,
So happy you
so
are.
lie on it and like spread
I
my
cried.
hands.
I cried so many times. I just kept
Actual crying with tears you did.
Yes, I cry
Oh,
a lot.
shit. Yeah?
And they were putting all these little quotes of his life and shit on the thing with the music, and you're seeing the paintings as they worked out, and you're like, fuck, this is the guy who you want to
Yeah.
be, man.
I think
Like,
now we
fuck.
should let other older artists also get their due. Okay, Van Gogh ka I feel now.
Or kaun hai
If you
purane
like, if you
artist?
cried so much, that's why we
Rembrandt.
haven't discovered them.
Yeah, that's true.
Some other book needs to come out.
There's
now.
another guy who I'm a big fan of. We say
It's always the ones who died depressed without like getting their fair
Yeah.
share of. That's why there's one show dedicated to that writer also. The one that Haley something is in on Apple TV. Do you know about this?
Haley
The-
Steinfeld.
Yeah. She's playing the writer. The fuck, it's my password also. How did I forget her name?
don't tell
Don't
us
tell a
now.
password now. Is
Yeah.
it the one Jane Austen wala?
नहीं
No.
but अब मुझे पासवर्ड चेंज करना
Oh,
पड़ेगा
the
जाके
Emily Bront wala? Wuthering
नहीं
Heights?
नहीं समथिंग लंबा सा नाम था उसका भी वो बहुत डिप्रेस थी काइंड ऑफ लाइक अ लिटिल बिट सिल्विया प्लैथ ही वाइब बट लाइक मोर अग्रेशन सिल्विया प्लैथ वाज मोर लाइक मैं गिव अप कर चुकी हूँ मैं सैड बेल
Moment
जार
of
के अंदर
silence
जरूर
for
जाऊंगी
whoever figured this out at home and is screaming the name at us right now.
But we don't know. Yeah.
Tim Vermeer, you know Vermeer?
Yeah.
Cumberbatch Benedict Cumber no
हाँ? वो तो आदमी है.
Isn't Tim Vermeer also a writer?
नहीं, Tim. So Vermeer was the painter.
Okay.
And he used to do these photorealistic paintings. Okay, they were phenomenally like wow level of lighting and all of that jazz. And this guy called Tim, he had a theory that Vermeer didn't paint it himself. He had some technology that he made. Like he made an invention to help him paint the thing.
okay
So in order to prove his theory, he makes that machine. Like he works backwards from the paintings, makes that machine, and then fucking paints a Vermeer.
Oh.
Yeah.
Which year did he paint all this in so that we can...
This
figure-
documentary is 2013. The paintings are like medieval.
But this kind of sounds like one of those like Ravana actually कि उसके पास एक
No, 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 no.
aeroplane
This
था
is-
और वो aeroplane
yeah.
flight jet
No,
fuel
even
बना
Da
चुके.
Vinci is like, if you look at like his history of Mona Lisa was like one of the things we know, but this guy was a master inventor.
He was a polyglot.
Yeah, he was a polyglot. He would like, so he would like even like the Wright brothers went to him with like a design of the flight that they want to take off and all everything, and he gave his inputs. Like he was very much into like a Renaissance man essentially, like machinations and everything. He understood how to turn this thing to make this thing turn.
I was
and
really
that
into
will
Da
take-
Vinci after that book for a
Yeah,
while.
yeah.
Just like,
Da
that's my
Vinci's
man.
anatomical paintings. Have you seen like where he's
The Vitruvian man and the
No,
वो
no,
जो
the
jumping
most
jacks
famous
कर
one.
रहा है.
no, not those. Like he used to basically ask for cadavers and he used to draw out
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
the hands and the muscle structure and everything. He
I
used to
think
draw.
he's credited for the knowledge of the fact that your this distance, you're from your wrist to elbow, is the same as your foot for everybody.
Oh wow, yeah, really?
Yeah.
No chance, bro.
For sure. I know it looks like तुम्हारा हाथ बहुत ज़्यादा लंबा है, but if you put your foot,
No,
just
elbow
take the
to
opposite
wrist.
foot
I
and
compared
put
with my
it
hand,
like
so it's true.
here, like yep.
Oh, it's as big as your
it's my
foot.
shoe. Okay,
Shoe-
it's my
shoe
shoe.
size.
It's as big as
I
your
have to take
foot.
off my shoe now.
No, bro. Way
It
bigger.
is. Put it like
I'm
into
doing
the
it.
crook and
No,
with
I'm
this.
gonna
I'm
like
doing
this.
it.
It's
not.
the same size.
You can see it in
Mine
the
is
frame.
No,
minus.
but you're
It's not
putting
the
it in the
same.
यहाँ नहीं, इसके crook में डालना है.
Crook में डालना है, you
Put your
crook.
heel in the crook.
Yeah.
I pranked you. This is not a real one, but now look at Aakash. No, it's a real one. No, it's a real one. It's a real one. Not even. No, it's actual. It's a real one, and I think
Next
it's Da
time
Vinci.
someone asks me for a shoe size,
What?
I'll just be like, "Ye maap le."
Yeah. As a
Oh,
kid,
yeah.
I would be like, this is your brain size. And I'm like, oh, fuck, this is too small. Dude. IR baboon.
You know, your
It
eyeballs
could
are
be.
the same size all your life.
Yeah, that I do.
Like everyone's born
That's
with.
why babies look cute
Yeah.
because they're big eyeballs,
Yeah.
and as you get
And then
older,
you grow into it and like, gee.
Yesterday, we dropped my nephew back to the airport because they live abroad, and he knew, like in the evening, that something is up. You know what I mean? Like he had this feeling of like massive irritability because he
Huh.
was like, he knew he was gonna leave this house and go to that house or whatever, and he doesn't enjoy it there as much because obviously here the whole family is always like there for him.
Yeah, it gets special attention. Yeah.
But
I have one body fun fact. One more.
yeah,
So, yeah, it's actually a negating of a popular fun fact.
Oh.
The popular fun fact is that your nails and hair never stop growing even after you're dead. You've heard of this?
Yeah.
that's not
But it's not true because it's not that the hair and nails keep growing. It's just the rest
everything
of you
else
keeps
retracts.
receding.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
That's
wow.
the
You
vampire
didn't know
thing.
the fact, but you knew the fact about the fact. Okay, cool.
It's the vampire thing. Na? A lot of people used to say that people are vampires because they would be like, "Dekh, uska nakhun bad gaya," but it used to just be wasting.
Oh.
Did you know about the bells in the coffins?
Yeah. That's based because I watched the movie The Nun.
Ah,
Sounds like a horror movie.
Because during the plague, there were people who just like fall down, collapse, and they would be like, is he dead? Is he not dead? We don't know. They'd put them in a grave, and then they would wake up in the middle of the night in the grave and be like, "Arey yaar, koi bahar nikalo meko."
So-
they would
Yeah.
put a bell on a tombstone.
so a
What the
lot.
fuck?
This
Yeah.
had happened
Okay.
a lot where they would bury somebody and then-
Accidentally alive?
yeah,
Yeah.
like they would be in a comatose state or something.
yeah, he's
bury
kacha
them,
limbu.
and then when they would open the coffin, they would see कि इंसान का पूरा नाखून उखड़ गया because they've been trying to claw their
the way
way.
out.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's like Uma Thurman in that movie. If she didn't know how to do the pie
The
made
punch.
Yeah.
technique.
1 meter punch.
Yeah.
1 centimeter punch.
Oh God,
Kill Bill.
that's horrible. That would be a horrible
Yeah.
death.
So
Okay,
long story short, learn the 1-inch punch,
Yeah.
and
This is what we're concluding on after. Like,
Yeah, you
and
should-
then we die.
That's one of my biggest
it's
phobias.
Live, die, repeat.
There's also a movie entirely called Buried, by the way, with Ryan Reynolds. If you have not watched it, don't watch it if you have a fear of closed spaces. The entire movie is like that. Uma Thurman का सिर्फ एक सीन था वो मूवी में. ये पूरा मूवी में बेचारे को किसने एक टॉर्च और एक फोन के साथ बरी कर दिया है कॉफिन के अंदर. And now he has to figure out how to come out. So the entire movie shot like from this angle in a coffin, and he's just like कोई बाहर निकालो. And I'm like, fuck, मुझे नहीं करना ये. I've never gonna. Ugh.
Oh,
अभी
there's a
ये
Mac
तो बोल
Miller
दिया ना?
tribute. Like Mac Miller has a song.
as a music video where he
yeah,
lights a
which I
cigarette
saw and I
inside
was like,
the
oh my
coffin.
god, that's a.
फिर तो मरी है. खुद का ही कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड सूंघ के मर जाएगा इंसान.
This is a horrible note. Can we say something cheery at the end? I just
Hey,
feel
Mac
मेरा
Miller
will come
ये मेरा
swiftly.
वाला एपिसोड है. मेरे को अच्छा कुछ sunflower ही चाहिए at
बोल
the
ना
end. It's
सनफ्लावर
like,
के बारे में कुछ.
hope never dies.
I have a fun fact about sunflower which I learned from
Yeah.
the internet. When two sunflowers
all
can't,
die.
No, when they can't find the sun, they look at each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
On
Yeah.
that note, it's been another fun week at Varta
Thanks,
Lab.
Navin.
Thank you,
Thanks for
Sejal,
saving
for
it
coming by.
Yeah,
Hey,
we
no
learned
problem,
nothing
my
about
pleasure.
you, but we learned so much about Van Gogh. That's the best part about
And
it.
rats.
And rats. See you
Hey.
next time. Bye.
Thank you.
Follow us.